Welcome to From Beyond with your host, Glenn Boddice. Join me as we explore spirituality, self-help, and channeling spirits. Hello and welcome to From Beyond with your host, Glenn Boddice, spiritual medium. Thank you for tuning in for another action-packed show this week. As in this week's episode, we're going to be deep diving with the subject of sleep working. Also in this week's episode, we have this week's forecast reading, which will hopefully help you navigate your way through the twists and turns of this week ahead. But I'm very excited because I am joined by my co-host, Kristina Bloom, and we're going to be, as I say, discussing the topic of sleep working. So, Kristina Bloom, how are you?
I'm fabulous. How are you, Glenn?
I'm 1 year older because I've just recently celebrated my birthday. I'm not going to tell you what number it is.
Oh, I already know what number it is.
But if I was to reverse the numbers, I would be a very old man. I'm at that age now that I can't hide it.
There's no need to hide it. There's no need to hide it.
I'm good. I'm feeling excited.
Good.
I'm feeling excited.
Awesome.
It feels like a new chapter is opening up, and things are starting to happen. So I'm really good. Thank you.
Awesome.
And have you been up to anything interesting recently?
Taxes. Getting ready to pay taxes. So that's not interesting. Not really. Not recently. Last week I had a small event that was a lot of fun.
Nice one.
Yeah. And I have one coming up this weekend, so that'll be good too. That'll be fun.
Excellent. Sounds like the calendar's really filling up for you.
Yeah. Did you see my post on Facebook?
I didn't know. Sorry. Was that a recent one?
It was a recent one. Yes. I put all of the events that I have scheduled so far this year in one post, like one.
Wow. Almost like a gig list.
Yeah, it is a gig list, actually. Yeah, it sure is. And the CryptidCon UK is definitely on that list. So,
excellent.
Yeah, excited about that. I know people are probably tired of hearing about it. I don't care.
You need to do some more lives, Facebook lives, and get it plugged so people are sick of hearing it. So that they think, you know what, I'm just going to go anyway, just to shut this lady up telling me about
right.
That's what you need to be doing.
That's what I need to be doing. Forget sleep. We don't need sleep, right?
No.
Oh, wait. We do need sleep because we work in our sleep.
Oh, I love that. That was seamless.
Yeah.
That was expertly done.
Yeah.
Yes. Smooth operator there.
I try.
So as Kristina smoothly operated into what we're talking about today, we're talking about sleep working.
Yes.
And we've had discussions, haven't we, before and after shows. And these conversations have gained momentum to the point where we thought, you know what, we need to make a show out of this. And so, first of all, let's do the backstory. What led us to this topic was the fact that on your side of the pond, yourself, some of your colleagues and associates, and this side of the pond, colleagues, associates, myself, we've all been having very interrupted and bizarre sleep patterns.
Mm-hmm.
And then based upon us talking about that, we came up with a few theories on this. So let's dive deep. I'm going to throw you under the bus this time, like you did with me on your show. But first of all, tell the listeners what you and your collective have been experiencing in recent times.
A lot of us have been having interrupted sleep. Or having a hard time falling asleep, or waking up really early, like 3:30 in the morning, and not being able to get back to sleep. A lot of that has been happening. People have been talking to me, and I've been having them too, just bizarre dreams. Like this is, weird stuff. Like I can't even really explain it. And typically, most of us aren't remembering our dreams for very long. And I feel like I feel like what we're doing is that we are, I don't know, in some other dimension. Maybe we're in this dimension, but not in our bodies. And we're working on stuff. We're working on raising vibration. We're working on possibly, I don't know, healing ourselves and others.
Yeah.
You know, I have taken to listening to, is it 473 and 528 hertz music, and
Okay.
sometimes 174. It
I'm
really kind of
guessing.
depends on
I'm
what my
guessing
body's calling
Motorhead.
for.
I'm guessing Motorhead isn't in that
Oh,
compilation.
no, no,
Oh,
no.
oh, damn.
Motorhead is recording at like 4:30, aren't they? I mean, just a little bit off of what we're supposed to be doing. No, I'm just kidding. But 432, I guess, is the frequency that is
Yeah.
healthiest for us. But I've been working on doing some healing of my own body as I'm going through a health journey. So as we are moving through that, I am just having weird sleep patterns and weird dreams. And I'm talking to other people who are doing the same weird sleep patterns, weird dreams. I think some of those dreams are astral traveling, you know,
Yeah.
traveling to other places, learning, hopefully learning.
Yes. Yeah.
You
Yeah.
know. So, how about you? How has it been for you lately?
I would say very similar, over these last few months. And again, colleagues, friends, associates, we've all had this interruptive sleep patterns. Again, like yourself there, waking up at random times, um, and also having these bizarre experiences, like almost we use the term dreams because people understand what dreams are, but like your good self there, I feel as though it's more than dreams that are happening. There's a lot of symbolism in these experiences. There's also the fact that um, a lot of healing's taking place. You're shown, for me, I've been shown symbolism, and then all of a sudden, this symbolism is connected to a part of my past. And it's almost as if that shape, that symbol, has cured or healed that version of my past. It's hard to describe into words, but you wake up and you feel either exhausted, even though you've had a full night's sleep, and your physical body aches, you feel really tired, and you
Mhm.
feel rather peculiar in yourself as an individual, like there's been some sort of rewiring that's occurred whilst your physical body's been resting. But a lot of my clients, friends, and family have also been experiencing either having to sleep longer than usual, where their alarm clock goes off and they're well rested, yet their physical body cannot, for whatever reason, get out of that bed for at least another hour or so, because they're sort of reacclimatizing themselves back into the physical vessel there. I've had other friends that have been having night terrors and that have been pursued by shadow beings whilst their body is resting there as well, and just feeling that sort of distress from that, and a need to try and control the situation to get some sort of balance and peace. So pretty similar to you and your friends and colleagues there. It's been rather peculiar, and I'm not a person that generally sort of has lay-ins in the bed
Mhm.
of a morning. But when you can't physically move, there's not much choice in the matter. You ain't going nowhere until you've got come back into your vessel, are you?
Right, exactly. Yeah. Is that like, would you describe that as part of sleep paralysis, or is that something different for you?
Usually when I've had that, um, sleep paralysis. I'm trying to think. No, I would say it's something different actually, because when I wake up, normally it takes me a while just to reacclimatize, and I'm up. But on this occasion, it has felt very much like, apologies to the listeners there. We've just been,
No problem.
somebody just entered the studio. Um, but anyway, yeah, where was I? Yeah, when I come back round into the physical body, awakening, it feels different. I can move the physical body, but it's very limited. I have no energy, and I feel slightly numb, very heavy feeling. Whereas the paralysis, when I've had that, that's usually going into sleep mode, in that in between stage. So I would say that's the difference between the two for me, but it does feel completely different, I would say.
Okay. Yeah, I know sleep paralysis for me is something that usually happens when I'm having a scary situation in my sleep where
Oh,
I'm
okay.
paralyzed and I can't move. I need to move. I try to yell, I try to scream, I try to make a noise, an audible noise out here in the waking world, and I can't always do it. And usually that sleep paralysis is a fear of some sort. Some people say that's an alien abduction thing, but maybe we'll
Yeah,
just save that for another episode.
I think so. Yeah, it's got legs, hasn't it? That
It
episode,
does.
definitely.
Excuse me. But yeah, it's sleep paralysis for me is one of those things where it's like if I can't move and it's outside of my control, it becomes a very frightening thing.
Hmm.
So
I
I don't
did
know if,
experience a lot of that when I was first awakening to spirit, so to speak. And I would go, like yourself, go to bed of the evening, and literally you couldn't move any of your limbs. The only thing I could move was my eyes, and
Mhm.
my lungs, and that was it. And it was so incredible. Maybe, like yourself, it was fear that was generating that physical response, because at the time I didn't know what I was seeing,
Right.
what I was experiencing. But yeah, let's move this conversation a little bit further, because we kind of alluded to the fact that potentially what's been happening behind the scenes in sleep state,
Hmm.
that we're leaving our physical body and we're going into the astral. We're astral traveling. So let's talk about that further. Would you agree with that? That's what's happening on some
I
level?
do. I do. Especially if you wake up and you wake up inspired, like you have,
Yeah,
and you're inspired to work on uh, a new project, or you've gotten some sort of information that helps you move forward with something you're already working on, but we're kind of maybe just stuck. I feel like astral traveling, it's almost like going to school out there somewhere to me.
mm, mm,
It can also be exploration, just going out, seeing what's out there. Sometimes it feels like I'm going somewhere familiar, but when
yeah.
I'm awake in this state, it's not familiar, if that makes sense.
Yes, it does. Yeah, like the soul recognizes that
Hmm.
location wherever you're traveling to.
Right.
Yeah, and it's been said that when we do leave the physical body, in our sleep state, that we're connected to our navel on our physical body by a silver cord, which
Right.
keeps our soul, shall we say, anchored to the physical body. Without that, then potentially we will be making that separation from the physical body and moving into the world of spirit.
On a more
Um,
permanent basis. Yeah.
yes, yes, definitely. So
If we can put it that way. Yeah.
I would say astral travel is, like you've said there, learning, definitely. Also, the fact that we could be doing some universal healing,
Hmm.
going to different locations, just merely not doing anything, just merely visiting that with our vibration, with our frequency. Our unique frequency is required to create harmony in that atmosphere, to enhance either the location, the occupants, or the situations, and make it a more favorable event or situation there. And potentially, this is why we're all feeling a little bit tired when we come back, because they say that everybody benefits once you add into the collective, the universal energies. It has a ricochet effect, and also what does occur, and I'm sure you've gone through this, when we do come back into body from an astral travel, and this is how the difference between astral traveling and a dream.
Hmm.
This is when you come back into your body and with a jolt. and your heart is racing. You wake up really abruptly. You're panting.
Yeah.
You've got that adrenaline rush, and you feel exhausted, frightened, and overwhelmed all in that experience. To me, that is the difference between dream state and astral
And astral.
working.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I would agree with that. I would agree with that. And then there are some dreams where, and I don't know, I guess I'll ask your opinion on this. Have you ever had a dream where you have reconnected with a loved one who's passed over and it is so real? Like you hug them and it is real. You physically feel it. Is that a dream or is that astral traveling? What do you think?
It's a fine line and an
It
interesting question.
is.
I have had that experience. And the reason why I say it's a fine line, because you will know this yourself,
Mhm.
that spirit, your loved ones, your family, friends, and loved ones, they find it easier to connect and communicate with you whilst you're in dream state because there's no resistance from you. Your belief systems, your guard is down. And so this is an opportune moment for them to come in and have that interaction with you. So
Right.
part of me wants to think that that is happening in this encounter. But from my perspective as a human meeting them, like you say, it feels so tangible, so real. I believe on the other end of of the coin that we are actually astral traveling, leaving our physical body. Because, like you say, having the connections with loved ones there in this sort of state, it feels so tangible. We get all
Mhm.
of our senses come online. We can smell, we can taste, we get that person's vibration in our atmosphere. We see that
Right.
sparkle in their eyes, and we feel predominantly that vibration of love and that feeling of home. And I think if
Yes.
anything I could take away from the experience is that feeling of feeling at home, not
Yes.
feeling judged, just feeling love at its purest sense there. So
Right.
I'm sitting on the fence with that question because
So am I. That's why
I,
I asked
yeah,
you.
I can see both sides of the coin with that.
Right. I look into that and I go, okay, well, my dreams are usually pretty weird. There's a lot of stuff I don't understand. You go from one place to another really quickly. You don't know how you got there, that kind of stuff. But when I'm having that kind of dream where I'm connecting with a loved one, everything makes sense. So maybe I'm leaning more towards, yeah, that's astral travel. I'm just meeting them somewhere else. To me, that just makes sense because dreams often don't make sense.
I like that. You've made that clarification.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which leads me to symbolism in dreams.
Oh,
Do you ever understand the symbolism you get in dreams? Because I rarely do.
it's something that I often speak about to my students there. I recommend that they have either their phone, a digital notebook, or a pen and paper at the side of their bed, not to take marks and scores on whoever's sharing their bed with them. Not at all. No,
Wow,
it's,
you went there.
I did. Someone had to. I took one for the team. No, in actual fact, no, in actual fact, it is to write while it's still fresh in your mind when you come back into the physical body, some of the symbolisms that you've seen. And as you know, symbolism can come in many forms. You may be shown a fruit, a vegetable, a coin, a person. It can be anything, but you'll see it obviously visually. And when you see it, you don't make any head nor tail of it. It makes no sense because it flashes right before you in this dream state and you're left waking up feeling bamboozled. So I encourage, like I say, my students to write it down while it's fresh in your mind. And then throughout the course of that day, when you eventually wake up and you're standing upright, maybe look at that list and think, well, actually, now I've seen it now, that represents this and that could represent that, and work it out. Look beyond the image that you were shown. Keep asking questions about it in your mind and rationalizing it, and keep writing down your notes, a bit like an investigative journalist would do. And what you'll find, you'll have this page full of meanderings and scribblings, but beneath all of that, you'll come to your own conclusion and you'll start and spot the message in that symbolism. And the reason why you get the symbolism, in my belief, is that spirit guides, loved ones, your higher self, it's an easy way to communicate lots of information, almost like a download. If you imagine having downloaded a folder onto your hard drive, everything's within that folder, yet you look at the image of the folder, it's just a folder. But actually, if you look a bit deeper, there's pictures in there, there's audios, there's text, and it's the same with symbolism. It's the easiest way for spirit to communicate with you, and it's your responsibility, not theirs, to work it out, to decipher that information. But it saves them a hell of a lot of energy and time describing all of those things in that folder that they've just installed to you. They can do it in one hit.
Yeah, that's interesting. I often don't understand the symbolism. And last June, when I moved, I found a box of old journals, and a few of them were sleep journals, right?
Wow.
So I went through and I'm reading them and I'm going, yeah, this still doesn't make any sense.
Even after all those years.
Even after all those years, even after all that time, no, it doesn't make any sense. And it's weird because as the symbols come up in dreams, I recently had a dream about a scarab. Like it was part of the dream.
Yeah.
Yeah. It wasn't about the scarab, but the scarab was in the dream. And it was like what I got from that, and I'm not going to go into detail on it because it's too weird to even say.
Yeah.
But what I got from that was that the scarab actually came out of my body. And so it was like a release maybe of old belief systems, because the scarab in the Egyptian culture is a religious symbol or a spiritual symbol, but it's like a release of old, so when you think about that, releasing stuff in our dreams, we are working, that's healing, right? That's healing.
Definitely.
That's moving forward with letting go of some things that we don't need to hold on to anymore. And our subconscious just goes, all right, I'm done playing with the conscious part of the mind. You're not getting anywhere. We're just going to release this for you or for us,
I like that. And if I could just add to that, I mean, the scarab beetle, looking at the symbolism, is one of nature's cleaners, one of nature's recyclers. So without swearing, it's taken away all of the disregarded energy information, and it's creating its home. It's thriving off of that information, and it's recycling it. Therefore, like you say, cleansing you, ridding you of all that old vibrational energy there.
And then releasing it from my body.
Exactly. Yeah.
That was kind of a terrifying dream, to be honest, but it was, it made sense to me, I guess. But,
I bet.
Yeah.
Particularly if you've seen the film The Mummy.
Yes.
And they're being consumed by these beetles. It will give you the heebie-jeebies, wasn't it?
Yeah, a little bit. But, just paying attention to that symbolism and then understanding, because sometimes I'll get symbols I don't understand. And I'm sure that happens to everybody at some point, where you just like, okay, well, that was weird. And sometimes I'll get weird shapes I've never seen before. So I just draw them out to the best of my ability right there in the sleep journal and just move on with my life. And sometimes they eventually make sense. Sometimes they don't.
Well, even that, you talk about the drawing them out. As you know, symbols that contain a vibration, a frequency, and maybe you just creating that symbol on paper there. You just have to be in the presence of that, and with the mathematical, geometry of that shape there, the symbolism. That is all you need. You just needed those healing codes to be installed in you, so you didn't need to work it out. Just had to be in the presence of that symbol. Appreciate
that's something I work on a lot with my students who are stuck in, but I don't understand it. Yeah. Well, you don't have to cognitively understand it. Your soul can understand it, and that's more important. And people are like, but I want to understand. Okay, well, you can want all you want to, and you can waste a lot of time doing it. But your soul understands, and it's okay.
That's it. It is a language, isn't it, of its own symbolism. And I would say like you've just said there, it will come to you at the right place at the right time.
Hmm.
And just take your guard down, relax, just be present with whatever symbol it is, and it will eventually either blend with you and make sense and do its job. You don't need to know the where's, why's, what's, when's, who's, whenevers. Just accept it.
Yeah, exactly.
Let your guard down a little bit. You're safe, you're protected, and everything's working out for you beautifully. I would like to
Yes.
take this conversation in a slightly different tangent,
Okay.
talking about doing the astral traveling. What kind of captivated my imagination, or did it, or was it my imagination? Was it spiritual intervention? I don't know, but I feel that multiple dimensional soul fractal work is at play, particularly over these last few months. And let me just unpack that for the
Okay.
listeners. So, what I'm talking about is us as a soul. We have a soul in our vessel. That's how we're communicating with you in this episode. But there's no such thing as time as such. And there are multiple fragments of our initial soul. And all of these fragments are all happening at the same time. And so there's billions of versions of Kristina, billions of versions of Glenn here. And each one of those versions, we can traverse from where we are now into one of those versions. And it's a choice away from having the experience of that version of ourselves, if that makes sense.
Hmm.
So, what I'm getting to, and my thought behind this, is potentially when we're in this sleep state, our soul is experiencing some of those other soul fractals connected to the choices that our consciousness hasn't made yet. And it's
Okay.
almost like doing the work for us in our sleep state, our soul is maybe exploring these opportunities that we haven't experienced in our reality, in our dimension, and it's maybe dipping the toe in the water of those soul fragments to see which is the best point of call for us to focus our attention on, if that makes sense.
That is, this episode should really be called "If That Makes Sense."
Yes.
Um, to me, it makes sense. So
Okay.
for me, it makes sense. But I kind of live there. I think a
Yeah,
lot of people who are very attached to the physical world and their physical body and their physical life might not understand that. And it's not
okay.
like you and I are not attached to that, but we do have a broader understanding based
Yeah,
on our experiences. So that does make sense to me. I have either through meditation or astral travel or whatever, even channeling, even trance channeling, come to know other versions of me in other places and times.
that is
And
beautiful.
some on other planets, some in other universes, some in other species, some in uh, kind of all over the place, where it's when we can allow ourselves to maybe believe that there are many versions of us existing simultaneously,
Definitely.
it makes more sense. But I think a lot of people are so attached to the life that's in front of them or that they're living right now in this physical body that they're not able to see that or maybe don't want to see that. Or when they do see it, they don't believe it. I'm not sure. I think it's probably any of those options.
Would you say as well, because of this, we can actually be confronted in our present moment consciousness in this dimension with another part of our soul fractal. And when we meet that individual, whether it be male or female, animal, we feel it, we know it, we feel at home with that
Hmm.
individual. We feel locked in, and we may not even know them on a personal level. We just know that we're part of the same source, so to speak. We were
Right.
cut from the same cloth. Have you encountered that before?
I have. I have. This is kind of weird. I feel that with you. Like when we connected, it was like,
Mm.
oh, there it is. We're-
Yeah.
it took us a while, but we found each other,
Yeah, yeah.
Here we are. I've also felt that with some different animals. I had a horse one time that I felt that
Okay.
with. Like there was no language needed. It was all, I don't know if you want to call it telepathic or which would be mind reading, but it was more heart reading. It was more of a heart connection where we understood each other.
Oh, I like
And
that terminology, heart reading.
yeah.
Oh, that strikes a chord with me. Yeah, I like that.
Yeah. And other people throughout my life too, I mean, I've got um, some family members that I feel are soul members, like we're that,
Yeah.
we decided to come back here at this time together because we had some stuff to do together, or, maybe we wanted to watch, the sunset of planet Earth. I don't know. But, moving into all of that, that's another topic too. Um, but yes, I have felt that. I have felt that.
Brilliant. It's a magical feeling, isn't it? Like you
It
say,
really
it's
is.
a good example you said between yourself and myself there. I mean, you know, I feel like I've known you for years upon years, and we just click on so many levels there.
Right.
And this sense of home there, this feeling of home,
Mhm.
I feel.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I agree.
definitely.
I agree.
Um, I want to say as well, kind of not wrapping things up, but coming to a conclusion with all of these experiences, particularly what's happened over the last few months. I feel as though that it's happened for a reason, as everything tends to do so.
Mhm.
Um, but it's in my personal experience, it's got me into a vibration where I'm relaxing into my physical life, into my now consciousness. Whereas at one time, I would have been planning and plotting and forcing and pushing life to work in the way that I wished it to unfold into. But what I've found after having these either soul work, astral traveling, or whatever we want to term these experiences, is I found I'm more laid back than ever. And that's not to say that I'm lazy and I'm sitting about waiting for things to happen. No, I'm still working, obviously, and doing things, but I'm just finding that where I put blocks up and where I resisted change and opportunities and connecting into higher decision making processes and my highest timeline, I'm not having that resistance anymore. So my sort of conclusion really is I feel as though that all this has happened to get me onto a new timeline to do the healing work
Mhm.
whilst I've been in sleep state. So it didn't interrupt my day to day agenda here on planet Earth.
Mhm.
But it has got me into, you could say, going back to what I was saying earlier, a different soul fractal to what I was operating on before having these different changes come into my life through the vehicle of sleep. That is a long response there, but hopefully you understand where I'm coming from.
I did. I did. And something else popped into my head while you were talking too is
Yeah.
that um, I've had some near death experiences,
Wow.
and
Okay.
they actually felt very much like a astral travel. It was,
Wow.
yeah, it was. I remember particularly when I was very young. I was, I don't know, maybe 5 years old, roughly, where I had this near death experience. And in that, I walked out into a field of wildflowers and grasses and whatever. And I was still pretty tiny at 5. I hadn't quite caught up with the rest of my age group yet. And there was a man sitting on a boulder out in the field.
Hmm.
And I walked right up to him and it's kind of if I could explain what he looked like, I would the closest I could come would be like Bob Marley, right? So
Nice.
the
Like it.
long hair with the I don't know if it was curls or dreadlocks or whatever, but I just climbed up on the rock next to him. He helped me sit next to him, and we had a nice chat. And he said, "Okay, it's time to go home now," and helped me down off the rock, and I came back into my body. Um, was I astral traveling during that? I mean, what was that experience like? I mean, that's something that I have been trying to figure out kind of on and off. It's not like I obsess about it, but since we're
Mm.
talking about it, that very much felt like astral travel to me. But it also, I know that I left my body. My body was not with me at all.
Whoa. And it
So,
amazes me how you recall that still. So it made such a deep, resonant soul impact with you for you to
right,
carry it into adulthood
right,
on that level. Can
right.
I ask, when you was going through that experience, you may have been told by parents or family members, what was happening to the physical body? Were you struggling breathing, or did you have a fall, or was it just in sleep?
No, it was a result of a head injury.
Oh, wow.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
Wow.
I probably looked like I was unconscious. No one seemed to notice, but
Yeah.
um, yeah. I mean, I don't recall what was going on around me in the physical world at that time. I know what caused it. We're just glazing over that, but
Yeah.
um, it was, uh, yeah, I don't remember really any of that. I remember coming back into my body and looking around and not seeing anybody. So,
Wow. And
yeah.
it was a rapid experience, from having that
Hmm.
incident to being in that location as quick as that.
Right.
Wow. That's
Yeah.
incredible. You said you've had multiple near death experiences.
4.
Would you like to? I'm sure all the listeners are as intrigued as
That
me.
that might be another show too, but very
Okay.
quickly, yes. At 14, I overdosed. Um,
Whoa.
yeah. Um, that was also that was a lot of complication around that in the physical world too, because I had been drinking excessively,
Hmm.
drugging excessively, and not eating for a very long time.
Oh,
So
okay.
my
Yeah.
body went into shutdown mode as well. It ended up in a pretty complicated surgery. So,
Wow.
followed by a 4-day coma. But yeah, they had to bring me back to do the surgery. So there was that. And then having my first child, I they had to restart my heart
Whoa.
during that. Yeah. And 10 years ago, I had a severe case of pneumonia where they had to do another emergency surgery to bring me back because I had left my body. So, yeah.
Whoa.
Yeah, it's it's like when you're having the near death experience and you're actually out of the body,
Yeah.
it's pretty cool. But getting there and recovering from it, not so cool.
Yeah, because you readjust into the physical body and the
Yes.
surgeries you've gone through.
Right. Right.
Wow, that's
So,
incredible. So, did you meet
yeah.
family members when you went on the other occasions? Were they
See,
comforting you, or your spirit guide, or was somebody there to like usher you and help you?
my spirit guides. Yeah. The first one I figured out that the one when I was very young. I was I feel like I was talking to the Christ consciousness, Jesus, however you want
Wow.
to
Yeah.
say that. Um, such a sweet, gentle soul. And let's see. Honestly, the one at 14, I don't remember much except that I was trying to leave my body and they kept sending me back. They kept sending me back. Like I remember going down or upstairs, up a staircase, but it was a very long corridor kind of thing. And there was light around a door, like very, very bright light. And I kept knocking on the door and saying, let me in. And they're like, no, it's not your time. You can't come in. So that's what that experience was. Uh, when I was when I was giving childbirth, it ended up in a C-section. But I just remember thinking, I can't go there because I have a baby now. I have to take care of this other person. Um, that's all I really remember from that
Yeah.
one. Um, and the other one, I was like all the way into the light. I was talking to people. I was hugging family and friends who had crossed over before me,
Wow.
and they pulled me back into my body. So, yeah, I would have been perfectly content to stay there, but apparently I wasn't done yet. So
No, you're not going again yet. Not on my watch anyway. You've got so much to do.
we have a lot to do together. Yes, we do.
Definitely. That
Yeah. So
I think that is
that's
another show, and I'm going to hold you to
yes.
that because I want to
Yeah.
dive in there with lots of more questions.
Okay.
with that one.
That was kind of like, okay, here's the Reader's Digest condensed version. Here you go.
Well, you did a beautiful job of it, and you've whet everybody's appetite with hearing more about that. So that's something that we'll all have to look forward to in another episode.
Awesome.
But rounding this episode off, so to speak,
Yeah.
how can we put this? Bringing in healing codes for humanity. I feel
Mhm.
that part of this ascension process that a lot of us have been going through the vehicle of sleep, has been to usher in this new vibration. Some people call it the shift, the split, different timelines changing. I
Yeah.
feel that has been happening also. What are your thoughts around that?
Oh, I completely agree with you. Bringing in the healing codes, it's so interesting because it almost feels like the shorter amount of time that I sleep, the more information I bring back. And maybe it's because I'm more conscious of the information because I wasn't asleep long enough
Mhm.
to maybe file it, you know, back there. Um, you and I have talked before about how we both live so much in the moment that we don't remember a lot of stuff. Like it's just details that we don't remember, right? So um, I kind of feel like when I've slept a short amount of time, but I come back with a lot of uh, information or understanding, or I feel the need to journal, or um,
Mm.
I have a friend that I journal that stuff with, and I'll just text it out to her and send it off, and it just kind of gets kept there, know. but but yeah, it's interesting. I feel like that we are bringing back healing codes, but I'm not sure I want to use that word because in the three-dimensional world, we're talking about people who code for computer use or
Yeah, yes,
whatever, and it's
different
not
term, isn't it?
it's
Yeah,
it is different, and it for me it presents differently. I hope that made sense, but
it did. Yeah, thank you. Well,
yeah.
thank you for this deep dive conversation
Yeah.
today. Really enjoyed it, and I'm hoping that the listeners have caught up and understand what we've been talking
Yeah,
about, and
we went
maybe,
in a few different directions, didn't
yeah,
we?
and maybe has helped you make sense of what's been happening in your sleep patterns there, and just to give you something to think about. I'm struggling to string two words together now. I don't know what's happening. Anyway, Kristina, I'd like you to share with the listeners how they can contact you for a reading or to be part of your development system, and how they can meet
Okay.
you. Please let them know.
Oh, excellent. Yes, I have put out on Facebook a list of events that I'm going to be at this year. I'm still filling in the calendar, but you can go to my website, KristinaBloom.com, and that is Christina with a K, Bloom with two O's, because both of those names are often misspelled. But it's Christina with a K, Bloom with two O's.com. You can see my calendar on there. You can make an appointment request from there. You can buy my books from there. I have a couple of books on there. You can have access to all of my YouTube channels. I have 3 of those, and those are all on the homepage right there, along with the books. Otherwise, Facebook, Instagram, Blue Sky. I'm all over the place.
That is
TikTok.
brilliant.
TikTok, now that we have it back.
Oh, yeah, of course. Yeah, you had it
Yeah.
turned off for 24 hours or so, didn't you?
Yeah. It wasn't even that long.
Oh,
So,
wow.
yeah.
Oh, excellent. Well, there you have it, people. If you want to get in contact with Kristina, then please do. I'm sure she'll be very accommodating with you as well. Kristina, this episode has been absolutely fantastic. And whilst you were saying all of that, I had the inclination to ask you about doing an episode around your books and the inspiration and sharing those books and
Oh,
diving deep
sure.
with the listeners with your books so they can have a greater understanding of the work that you present to the universe and
Yeah,
so
we could
that they
actually do
can.
that with both of our books because
Oh, of
we are both
course.
published authors. So,
We are
yes.
indeed. Yeah, that's a
Yeah.
great idea. Yeah, touche. You threw it back
All
at me.
right. Don't I always?
Exactly.
And yeah, so excited, excited.
Excellent. Well, Kristina, have a wonderful weekend because you're at an event this weekend. I hope it goes well
Yes.
for you. And I
Thank
look
you.
forward to connecting with you in next month's episode. Anyway, take care. God
Awesome.
bless.
Thank you. You too.
Wow, I really enjoyed that conversation with Kristina Bloom. We really dived in deep, didn't we? Hopefully you understood all of that information we brought forward there. As I was saying, it was my birthday recently, and upon it being my new year, so to speak, I do feel very different. I've got to be honest with you. I'm not as sort of connected with the where's, the whys, the what's, the whens, and all of that. I'm just sort of taking life as it comes and appreciating every second of it. And actually saying this, I do feel, I don't feel my age as such. I feel very energetic, full of inspiration, full of connection with my guides there. So yeah, I thought I'd bring that up. I'm not hinting for cards or presents, so don't worry. But anyway, how are you? How is everybody listening to this show? How's your year unfolding for you so far? I know we're just touching January, but already we can start to get a flavour and a feeling for this new year, can't we? And so how are you feeling? Are you sleeping well? Are you finding that you're full of inspiration? Have you got any plans made for this year? Or like me, are you just taking this year as it comes? You're loosely arranging and having plans, but also you're not too rigid enough to understand that you need that little space and leeway for the universe to work with you and bring forward that beautiful energy and surprising opportunities your way. It'd be good to know anyway, be good to know. So also what I've been experiencing recently is eventually now I'm just coming out of hermit mode because the weather's starting to get a little bit warmer in the UK, only a little bit, which means that you only have to wear 2 layers of clothing and a woolly hat and gloves. I'm now starting to venture outdoors, and something I did recently is I went to a very beautiful place not too far away from me called Cresswell Crags in Derbyshire. And I actually had a good walk around there. As I was saying, with some of the social media content that I produced when I was there, it has significant meaning for me because my dad grew up in that area, used to play in that area there as well. It's very sacred land because prehistoric bones and early man settlements were found in the caves there. And also why it's special is because I took photographs of my second book called Inspired Truths there. So the cover of the second book was actually taken in that lake there in the middle, and I was there throwing stones into the water, taking lots and lots of photos to get that ripple effect until I got the right shot. And so, yeah, it plays a very strong part in my timeline. And so I've been there recently. And you know what? It did me the power of good to get outdoors in nature, connecting, grounding the energies, and just absorbing this beautiful frequency of 2025. Anyway, we're going to move into this week's forecast reading. So sit back, relax, take notes if you wish, and enjoy this week's forecast reading.
Hello, my name is Glenn Boddice and I'm a spiritual medium, and welcome to this week's energy forecast reading for the week commencing Monday the 27th of January 2025. Now, those of you that have watched me work before will know that I connect with my spirit guides and helpers and also consult the wisdom of the Angel Tarot card. So what I'm about to do is just shuffle this pack and allow a card to come out for this week's forecast reading. Okay, the cards are being very stubborn, so I think that is a message in itself, and we'll explore that message in a moment. But this is your card for this week's forecast reading. I'm now going to link into the vibration of it. First of all, with that stubbornness of the card, it's telling you not to be a stick in the mud, not to cut yourself off from the opportunities that are literally right under your nose. And I feel as though it's only you holding on to this older version of yourself that's going to stop you from actually embracing these opportunities. So if anything, you are to let the old version of you go and blend into the new version, the new vibrational version of yourself. This new version of yourself is creating a new chapter on your timeline where you haven't got to go chasing or forcing things to happen. The right people, the right opportunities, the finances, everything will come to you naturally. You'll naturally draw it to you. But what your role is upon doing this is actually working upon your own vibration, allowing yourself and observing your energies to be the best version of you. So if any rogue thoughts enter your mind, you have that choice not to give it your time and attention. You have that choice to think of something better and to align your vibrations of that which brings you joy in your heart and gives you energy and vitality within your physical and energetic being there. Also this week, we'll see you actually noticing these substantial changes entering your life. And rather than pushing them away, you're going to actually be embracing them and moving with the energy instead of worrying about the worst case scenario, what's going to unfold for you. Instead, you're going to be looking at the best case scenario and you'll be excited and you'll be pinching yourself along the way when these opportunities come in. I've also got to say, look out for your sleep patterns this week, as I do feel as though you'll feel a little bit more lethargic than normal. You'll be needing additional amounts of sleep, and if you don't get it in the evening time, when most people do, you'll find yourself having cat naps during daylight hours, just to top up the energy that you require to move into these new frequencies that we're talking about. Also, do pay attention to your I want to say, the food that you ingest, because I'm feeling a little bit of disruption around my solar plexus area, my stomach area, as I'm aligning with you for this week's forecast reading. So I do feel as though those of you that are foodies and enjoy food, this week you're not going to be giving it too much time and attention. Yes, we all need sustenance, but I feel as though you'll just be inspired to have what you need rather than having things out of greed and more necessity based. So I do see a lot of you bitting and bobbing where food is concerned, but you will feel very highly energetic, very full of beans, so to speak. So do watch out for this. I'm also being told there's going to be a sensation of your skin tightening up. Now, this sounds random, I know, but to me, I'm feeling it around the facial features there, almost as if there's this younger vibration coming in where your face is changing and it's appearing younger to lots of people that are observing you. I've also got to mention that this week your heart is going to open up and blossom like a beautiful flower, and you've got to allow it to unfold. Never mind all of the mishaps that you've had romantically, opening your heart in friendships. Never mind all of the previous things that have happened. You need to allow this process to unfold, because you will be absolutely overjoyed with this beautiful vibration of love that is entering your life. And so stepping out of your own way will see this vibration opening you up, taking you to new heights, and actually you'll start to feel things on an emotional level that you haven't felt for some time. And it will be like stepping into a new timeline, a new life there. So just embrace that and enjoy the experience. Don't judge it, just accept things for what they are. So let's turn over the card, see what the card has to say for you. So the card, let's read in the description at the bottom. It reads, "The end of challenging times, things are looking up, a welcome relief, finding your way to peaceful place. The end of depression or illness, travel or relocation." So there's some positive elements within that. Again, touching on what my guides were saying also. Let's take a look around the card. First of all, we got the number of number 6. I'd like you to research that as an angel number, as I do feel as though it will give you additional content and information to add to this reading. But I've been reminded that 6 is the highest number on a standard playing dice when you roll a dice. So that is telling you to take a chance. It's also telling you that everything's going to work all right. Stop trying to work out things and just allow things to unfold for you. Also, we have the symbolism there of a turbulent wind there. So to me, this is like telling you that the old version of you is being blown out, so to speak. It's being removed out of your vista so that you can step into these new timelines and appreciate the new version of yourself that is blending with your energy. And in doing so, there's going to be people, friends, family, loved ones around you that are going to notice these subtle changes. But you haven't got to take any of their judgments on board. Just keep aligning with your heart, and that will govern you on this new trajectory moving forward. Okay, the bottom left-hand side, we've got the initial of G. To me, that indicates greatness. And my guides are making me feel the feeling of greatness, of just tapping into that. So this week, you are to feel that energy of greatness. You are worthy. You are deserving. You have worked so hard over the years to get to this level in your life there. So accept it. It's yours for the taking. You are great. You are greatness. You are divinity. You are walking in an amazing new timeline. So accept it and stop second guessing yourself. At the right hand corner, we've got the letter X, or the Roman numeral of X. So to me, that represents 10. To me, that indicates the angel number of number 10. So I'd like you to research that. But to me, that also indicates the end of a chapter. You've come to the end of a chapter in your life, which is why you're experiencing this new timeline opening up and unfolding right before your eyes. Instead of rubbing your eyes and pinching yourself, not believing it, trust. It is the natural state of order, how things are. You've finished the last chapter of your life. You're moving into a new one. And so embrace it and embrace the wonderful opportunities that come your way. You will be amazed of what is set for you. Let's take a look around the coloration of the card. Around the edge, we've got the color of green. It's a tepid, misty green. So this is talking about going for things. It's also talking about your heart chakra. And stop covering it up. Stop hiding the truth of who you are away. Allow people to get to know that essence. Stop doubting your stirrings in the heart and just allow it to catapult you and move forward. You don't need to know all of the answers. It is on a minute by minute basis, so you need to trust your feelings, as that will govern you moving forward. In the artwork itself, we have this wonderful vessel there. We have a swan there. Swan is talking about going gracefully. Under the surface, you may be going through some internal struggles there, but to everybody else, it looks like everything's happening and you're just flowing gracefully there. Also, this is telling you coming to shore. Be sure of yourself. Be confident. You and your tribe are going to move into new directions, new dimensions there. And also, you're going to cut cords to the past there to enable you to get to this level. You're going to rise above your emotions. So I hope that resonates with you. Thank you for hearting, liking, commenting and sharing. If you've enjoyed this reading, you would like to help and support the work that I do, I have got a Buy Me a Coffee link either above or below this video, which is a virtual tip jar. So all of your generous donations will be gratefully received. If you would like to book a reading with myself or any other of my services, you can head over to the link above this description or in my bio, or go to www.glennboddicespiritualmedium.com and you can book in with me directly there. Join me every Monday with my radio show From Beyond with Glenn Boddice, talking about all things spiritual, paranormal and self-help on my website and also on all of my social media. Take care, everybody. God bless. Bye for now.
Well, that does sound like we're all set for a very interesting and exciting week ahead as we're rolling into this year of 2025. So I hope that is going to help you through your course of this week and inspire you in some way, shape or form. Also, can I thank you all for listening and taking part in this show. And I hope you've enjoyed the content and information by Kristina Bloom and myself, that conversation that we had. And if anything, it's given you something to think about if you're going through what we was describing there in this week's episode. Anyway, if you do have any show suggestions or if you have any questions for the show, please contact me at www.glennboddicespiritualmedium.com, or you can email me at glennboddice@live.co.uk. It'll be fascinating to hear from you. Anyway, join me same place, same time next week, next Monday. Have a fantastic week. Thank you for listening to From Beyond more information about what products and services Glenn provides, go to Glenn Boddice Spiritual Medium